Welcome to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. In this episode of Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered, leading experts in fintech, banking, financial innovation, and international finance explore the future of Cyprus's financial services sector and its growing role in the global economy. The discussion examines key challenges facing the industry, including access to credit, the evolving banking landscape, emerging financial technologies, and the opportunities fintech presents for businesses and investors. The panel also highlights the importance of leveraging the expertise, networks, and investment potential of the Cypriot diaspora to strengthen Cyprus's financial ecosystem and drive sustainable economic growth. Moderated by Yuriy Romanyukha, the panel features an international lineup of financial leaders and industry experts. The session was recorded live at the Cyprus Diaspora Forum on May 7th, 2026 at the AMARA Hotel in Limassol, Cyprus.
I'm gladly amazed that we have such an international panel in this room. It's not so often see this kind of level of experts that can easily talk an hour or more about fintech innovation and banking system in Cyprus and globally. So just maybe I'll start with my introduction shortly. My name is Yuriy Romanyukha. I'm a strong advocate about Cyprus and have roots from Ukraine. But I strongly believe that Cyprus has a lot of hidden potentials. And every year, every day, when I try to have visit or build new relations, I'm so amazed about how far this nation, this island could get us from the perspective of just the Mediterranean island to the perspective of the global economy, vivid relations internationally, and of course, fintech is one of the key pillars of that changes. So maybe I would like to start my panel discussion with a short question for everyone. Please introduce yourself and why it's so important topic for you related to the fintech and banking system in Cyprus. Maybe you can start with Nicholas.
Thank you. I'm Yuriy Romanyukha. I'm a director and owner of a brokerage in Australia, small business. This is my second time to the forum. I'm really interested to see where the gaps are in the market here for brokerages or small firms for lending from that perspective, what the pain points are for consumers or businesses for lending here, which I know there's a few, similar in Australia, but solving those issues and those problems, I think, is important to see where the barriers are and where it can go with technology, especially. Especially that.
Hi, I'm Nikolayanis or John Karantzis. Is this working? Can you hear me on that? Yep, yeah. Good. I'm the CEO of ISX Financial. We are a Central Bank of Cyprus regulated institution. We are the first non-bank to gain access to the European Central Bank's RTGS or real-time gross settlement system. So that means that we can effectively move money globally via the SWIFT system in about 15 seconds. And SWIFT is on the way to sort of start announcing that at the moment. And I think we will be one of the first entrants to have actually integrated to that system. So as we talk about fintech, we obviously have a few points to make in terms of where we think it can go.
Excellent. My name is George Georgiadis. I'm an attorney in New York. I've spent half my career on Wall Street doing public transactions and half my career building digital asset infrastructure in the crypto industry. Recently been talking to investors about starting a new digital bank, and Cyprus is one of the jurisdictions we're exploring as a perfect headquarters, as a regional hub for this side of the world.
Excellent. My name is Lambis Vasiliou. I'm the chairman and CEO of Teak Capital, a former lawyer, but don't hold that against me. We are an investment firm. We acquire companies and we invest into businesses and run a family office as well. My mother came to me in a dream and told me to help Cyprus. So I'm eager to find ways to do so. And I think that I know nothing about fintech other than as a consumer. So I won't add much on the fintech side, but in respect of the gap in finance, that I think is a key area where access to credit through the banking system in an easy way or through private credit is a key factor that Cyprus needs to address, and I'm hoping to assist in that way.
Ambros, I will start probably with you because it will be easier for everyone to stick with the idea they just share. So give a clarity for everyone. Ambros has a wide experience with deploying capital in Brazil, Singapore, and you just recently come to Cyprus and start your own due diligence on that region and potential. What do you feel like the mostly like a challenge or opportunity for that region in that perspective?
Yeah, I'm seeing two different types of opportunities in Cyprus. One is with existing and legacy businesses that have difficulty accessing finance and need to access credit to grow or to deal with issues that they have. And the other opportunity is in startups. What I'm absolutely shocked by is the level of talent in Cyprus, and talent in the advisory space, talent in the entrepreneurs, and in the ambition of people here or in the diaspora coming back. It's really, I think, I'm trying to build a bridge between Cyprus and Brazil in particular, and then I'll address Cyprus and Singapore thereafter, and indeed the rest of Asia. It's the gaps that I'm already seeing here are the lack of access to credit, the concentration of the banking sector, the lack of digital ID and open finance to allow SMEs to quickly access credit in the way they can, for example, in Brazil or in Singapore, because the information is already there. Your information is already shared, so the institutions are able to make quick decisions and take risks because they have the data. And I think that's a key gap here. That is an area that could be developed. And indeed, the private credit industry does not seem to be overly active in Cyprus, and having an alternative to the banking sector, which I understand the conservativeness of the sector in light of the history back in 2013 and otherwise. But now we're in a very different phase, and it's a time where Cyprus is very well positioned to be the doorway to many parts of Europe and MENA and elsewhere. And I think that there's an opportunity for a more sort of aggressive approach, which if the banking sector doesn't take it, then the private sector through private credit can take it as well. So those are my key focus.
Very interesting, and take away your expertise will definitely need it for the next questions. So George, I want to also go further with you. So we have a lot of development in Cyprus, like stablecoin, tokenized RWAs, AI infrastructure, everything. But keep in mind, if you have just a chance with one topic, which you choose from that direction that will be in favor for the Cyprus for the next 5 years?
I think Cyprus is emerging as a regional hub in all of those three emerging technologies, especially when it comes to blockchain technology in the financial services industry, and especially AI. We see Cyprus emerging as a leader in AI with a number of different programs of focus by this administration to bring AI to the forefront, whether it's bringing computing speeds, whether it's the National AI Library, partnerships with Pharos program in Greece, to major chip companies moving to Cyprus to have their headquarters based here. So AI is, of course, the topic of the day globally, and Cyprus is well positioned to become a regional, if not a global, headquarters for this emerging technology.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, George. Nikoyannis, my first question to you will be, we've seen a lot of updates regarding the MiCA regulation that we traced. And of course, instant payment regulation, it is the second part and it's really important pillar, especially with the settlement, etc. In your opinion, how that regulations will impact the business on a long run, and what exactly we can probably mitigate as a risk factor on that direction, and probably your expertise as well will be needed on that direction.
Well, how long have we got? But seriously, in terms of instant payments and so on, we were the first in the Balkans to execute instant payments in 2018, some 7 years before the Bank of Cyprus announced that it was the first. Typically, instant payments and the changing in regulation, we've always seen it as an opportunity. To my knowledge, I don't know of anyone that's issued a stablecoin yet in Cyprus. So a stablecoin is a strict definition now under MiCA. So a bit like the US Genius Act, it's all become very regulated. I see both instant payments and stablecoins as having a convergence, particularly with what I just mentioned before, ISX having been the first European institution to gain access to the European Central Bank as a non-bank. So that means that we can move central bank money, scriptural money, which is instant money between banks, e-money, and stablecoins. So the opportunity to bring all those rails together to move money faster cross-border is really, really exciting. That's really exciting. So, and it's because of the regulation that we're able to do that, because access to the European Central Bank up until now has only been to banks.
Exactly.
To allow fintechs or EMIs, okay, we're licensed, but, to allow electronic money institutions access to the ECB and central bank rails is a major step change.
Definitely. I honestly, I'm waiting for the B2B layer on that regards, because that will be a shift that's thrown whole Cyprus in anyhow, because the B2B layer, it should be not just consumer driven resolution or solution. It should be also the B2B between the companies, small and medium enterprises. Also small business can definitely benefit about that.
Yeah, I think so. I think what's misunderstood a little bit about stable coins versus central bank money. With central bank money, we can, as of next month when we launch under the new system, hit about 23,000 banks globally within 15 seconds. Now, what that means is that we pretty much decimate the stablecoin market, because there's no on-ramp, there's no off-ramp, there's none of the shysters in between doing whatever it is they do. It is an institution sending to another bank or another institution within seconds on central bank rails. Now, that's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer.
For sure. And I feel that Cyprus will be the driving power of these changes. Thank you. Carissa, I know that you have a lot of expertise driving force with the diaspora in Australia. You did a lot of great project and, of course, applied all your knowledge how to exactly handle these questions that related to the financial system, of course, law and all these matter that you are so passionate about. Can you tell us a bit more how exactly it works for diaspora and how exactly it could work for the Cyprus business in anyhow?
Yeah, I think what we have in Australia at the moment in terms of tech, it's probably one of the most advanced ones I've seen in terms of lending directly with the banks. So we've got really good technology now that plugs into the back ends of the bank to be able to provide 50, 60 options of what's available to any consumer, whether you're Cypriot Australian or not. And I think that there's room for that here still. I think that at the moment, Cyprus to me is almost doing lending how we used to do it 10 years ago in Australia. I think that we've got the systems now that with open banking, digital ID and all the rest of it, there's still more tech that we can put in to integrate within the back ends of the bank to be able to provide not just one option to a customer, this is the right loan for you or lender product. Here's 3. Here's the best one. Here's my recommendation. This is why I recommend it. That's law now for Australian brokers to do that. So with Cyprus, generally, from a consumer perspective, you want a loan to buy a house, you go to the bank, you have a talk to them or they come to you, whatever it might be. Or you can even do it by yourself online, okay, with some of the banks now. But what the broker in the middle, in the way that it works in Australia, is that we can provide so much more options, a better service, faster service, streamline the service with the tech that we now have. And it's only, made the amount of people that are using brokers much higher in the last couple of years. I think we're at 80% of all loans are written by brokers now. Yeah. So in Australia, you can walk into a bank and apply for your own loan. You can go online and apply for your own loan, digital, upload your own documents. That's still there, but the people don't use it. And there's a reason why. So we've got now the foundation of the tech to provide a much faster service, which, Australians are probably spoilt for choice in that sense. We like things to be done fast. Mm-hmm. Okay, things don't happen that fast here, so there's a bit of fear in that as well from that end. But if we can bring that here in some way to fast track I see it happening here. The digital ID and all that sort of started, but I think in terms of workflow CRM, we can do more here to bring capital in. So it's
a super important topic because I personally also did the same process myself,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, and was not so well. So I decided at some point to just change my mind.
And that's the problem. That's what we see. So from my perspective, that's what I talk about with my clients every day. Even the Cypriot Australians that want to leverage equity from Australian assets and invest in Cyprus, but they already know there's the stigma that it's just too slow and too hard.
It is
for some of them as well. That's one big, I suppose, barrier as well.
Thank you. By the way, if someone in the audience will have a specific question at the end of our conversation, that will be so important to just get also your perspective on that conversation, not just me. We'll handle that opportunity. So please keep in mind that option. So Lambis, I also want to emphasize some questions to you because, we have an Australian case that's pretty straightforward. We have a diaspora, we have such a strong roots, relations, etc. But if we're talking about LATAM, specifically with Brazil, these consumers are like crazy big market, consumer market. And what do you feel like, how exactly we can utilize all that experience from the Brazil, LATAM, to the Cypriots and of course to the Cyprus Fintech and banking system?
Yeah, I think Brazil is a leader in many respects. It has a very good payment system. Everyone uses what's called as PIX, where you can, just by using your mobile number or your tax ID number or your company ID number, you can transfer money from one person to another person instantly. So if you're on the beach and you want to buy an ice cream or you want to buy a caipirinha, you pay just by scanning the QR code or getting the phone number of the merchant on the beach, and instantly you transfer the money. And BRICS is actually going to sort of follow a similar thing called the unit, which they're trying to develop. But what this does is it gives everybody from the CEO level to, I use the examples of I have two housekeepers, one who is very good but breaks everything, and another one who, I pay her using PIX, so it's instant transfer. Because she's integrated into the banking system, and the banking system is very competitive, many digital banks and a very profitable sector, but it's very competitive. She's then also interested in financial products. Now, one of my housekeepers is always behind wanting to borrow money. The other one, with the little that she has, is asking me, which bond should I invest in? Should I invest in this tax-free letter? Because there is access. So there is an education in the multiple family office space. It addresses not just high net worth individuals, but ordinary people on salaries with a little bit extra that wish to invest their money. And the multiple family office space addresses these retail investors as well once they have a certain level of wealth. But generally, even people that are just surviving and saving just a tiny bit are educated because of the access in the financial options available to them, the investments available to them. And also they can access credit because there is open finance, because the information can be shared across jurisdictions. I can look at all my banks through one of my banks if I choose to. And you can compile information because of the digital ID about everything and assess someone if you choose to. So this allows access to credit to be easier because the information is there. So Brazil, I think, is very well advanced in this, and I'm trying to bring some of that knowledge. My dream would be to bring a Brazilian bank to maybe we're talking.
Just to support this idea, that in official stats in Cyprus, we have 25 billions of euro just laying on deposit accounts in the banks. They just roughly do like 1 up to 2% annually, just laying like nothing. And inflation just taking this percentage easily. So what you emphasize as well, these 25 billions, is it a good market to start something or not? What do you feel from that perspective?
Come invest in Brazil. My worst investment is 15% in AAA bank.
But if we emphasize this knowledge and experience.
I think there's a few things at Cyprus. I mean, I understand the conservativeness after the crisis in the banking sector, but it's time to move on. Cyprus should also think about a sovereign fund.
Yeah.
We have to think for the future. We're doing. There's some great people. There's I use the Charlie Wilson's war with the Greek CIA analyst saying who's running the strategy. It's me and 3 other guys. But keeping it small and controlled, these guys in the front row here before are helping to put everything in place in the country. But we need to capture it and for the future. And the diaspora as well. The more of the diaspora we let back easily. I mean, I want to come back, but I've got to go jump through hoops. The easier that becomes, you get the brains coming back, and you can build more for the future. But having money sitting around is madness.
Madness, because to also get our audience perspective, comparing to the US market, they not have such many deposits over the household percentage, but the investment vehicles works pretty well to gain returns for the same household with more than just 2%, of course. And we know that, but probably diaspora will be the answer for that, because your international experience can easily explain that.
I think the big lesson is from Singapore, which is very similar to Cyprus, a little island that grew rapidly, is now one of the global centers of wealth. And it did it through strong regulation, zero corruption, encouragement, and then very clever investment of its capital, and ease of access to credit for businesses, and avoiding scandals. Cyprus has to do that as well.
I believe in the bright future of Cyprus, definitely you as well. So definitely we'll make this happen. So moving further, thank you so much, Lambis, for this conversation. George, I know that this EMI topic, AI, all of that stablecoin things, it's very interesting. But maybe also for our audience, it will be a clear statement that if you're touching blockchain historically, in anyhow, you already be some line of information laying somewhere that will be easily someone ask about from the historical standpoint. And in my opinion, also a question to you, what do you feel how ready Cyprus for that changes? Because we amplify this taxation, 8% for all the crypto assets that you can easily right now put as an officially statement in your accounts. But the question is whether or not it's still already clear that we're heading in that direction and how fast it can go.
I would say over the last, I've been in crypto for about 12 years, building regulated financial institution to support the industry, compliance, building what today is become normalized. In the last 2 years, we've seen an advancement where it's no longer fringe technology or fringe assets, but we're seeing a convergence with traditional finance. We're seeing with new frameworks and regulations, not just in Europe, but now in the United States, in EMA, and other regions globally, which have brought digital assets into mainstream financial regulations. Cyprus is taking some very interesting initiatives on the tax side to make it extremely competitive to have your digital assets bought, sold, domiciled, your corporation started here in Cyprus, which is making it competitive across Europe. Other jurisdictions have other favorable and non-favorable regulations or issues, but Cyprus, I think, has emerged as a leader in the European Union.
Mm-hmm. And George, would this 8% perspective for the crypto assets, do you feel that it will change the whole market and we'll see a lot of billionaires that are basically on the ground in Cyprus open up that information to the government and easily go further to the compliance part?
Significantly. I think that now with a lot of, not just with AI, with compliance and other regulations, identifying who owns what on chain, I think it's a bit of a misunderstanding. People think if you're buying cryptocurrencies on chain that it's completely anonymous. It's not. It's a public ledger. There's a lot of tools and technology out there which can link who bought it, tracing tech. So it's not as silent as people think. The new regulations that are coming out, the tax rules are making it extremely favorable to buy through regulated institutions, through tax regimes that are incredibly favorable to be domiciled here in Cyprus. So we're going to see a lot more businesses, I think, come to Cyprus. We've already seen over the last 2 years an influx of billionaires and high net worth individuals who are choosing to live in Cyprus, not only for the tax reasons, but also for the quality of life. I think people genuinely love living in Cyprus. It's seen as a place where you can raise a family. You don't have the crime and issues you have in other jurisdictions. Who are here just for the tax reasons, they consider Cyprus home. And we're going to see a lot more of that over the coming years.
As iClub, we invested like 4 years ago in the Gemini exchange. It's a rather Wilkin was. Eventually, they decided to pass the MiCA in Malta. But in my opinion, if the founders will decide to live in Europe, they should pick the Cyprus as a head destination.
And we see other major crypto exchanges with offices in Cyprus, whether it's Kraken, Binance. We're seeing other crypto tech companies like Talos come to Cyprus to get their CASP licenses. So it's beginning to grow.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, George. I feel that we already find several pillars that we can easily evolve on already this panel discussion. But I definitely want to know some questions from the audience. So please, be ready. We have several minutes until we go there. So George, also a question about allocators in fintech. From the perspective, what you're seeing in Trace, that's a topic for the fintech industry in Cyprus or not? It's for Nikoyanis. Sorry, it's for Nikoyanis. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for confusion. Yeah. The question is, so from the capital allocators perspective, investment in Cyprus fintech, it is an option, or you feel that we need to find another way?
Well, we've been in Cyprus now for about 12 years, and I think we've invested over 40 million into the local economy in terms of R&D. We're public, so all those numbers are up there. Having said that, that investment has yielded an ability. Last year, I think we processed about 220 billion on our rails. So certainly if you want to do it in Cyprus, you can do it in Cyprus.
Yeah.
There's no issue with that. What we find though is that, Cyprus still suffers a little bit from the mentality of, you've got your kids sort of, or the younger generation, all wanting to do a startup and all wanting to be a CEO and a CTO before they can even really spell the word. And those of us with grey hair go, well, it's not quite that easy.
It is.
It's not just the investment case you need, which I'm sure these gentlemen can help with, but, you need the business case, you need the expertise, you need to know how to handle a customer, and most importantly, how to handle your regulators. And the regulators here, I must say, have gotten better over the years. The central bank, when we first started and approached them, I think in 2011, look, I'm not going to go into it, but it was almost embarrassing dealing with them. Now they are quite a professional unit. They've upsized, upskilled, and they're starting to meet demand. They actually understand the conversations we're having with them, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. So it's no longer a sort of outpost in the middle of nowhere. It's very much coming into its own as a European member state and understanding what it can do in terms of the EU framework.
And if we're talking about AI perspective for the employer side, do you feel that AI will definitely take some jobs here in Cyprus, or it's still yet not there? What's your opinion on that regard?
Well, look, I'm a little biased. So we own a company called BeEmotion. We've just, and it's defense-grade AI. We've just won the Singaporean government's border control. So every time you go to the Singapore gate, our AI is actually looking at you for anything that is suspicious. We've picked up... it's us and it's you. We know all about you. And we're also the AI in Mercedes, Porsche and Toyota. So we know a little bit about AI, let's say. I don't believe that AI for employers will live up to the hype. There's a lot to know about AI before you can use it effectively. I wrote my first bit of AI code in 1989. And, nice. Back then it was known by its mathematical names of Cohen backpropagation networks and very boring stuff like that. But to be in it, you've got to be in it at a foundational level, not using someone else's AI that isn't built for your purpose.
So the compliance part is still yet missed with AI, yeah? So just if we're talking about the data privacy and et cetera for the corporate world.
Yeah, we use AI in some of our products, like Paidentity products for KYC, but it still has challenges. It has challenges, yeah. So at the end of the day, we find that using a set of what we call fuzzy logic rules is better than using the AI, because the AI can introduce biases and then go off and do what is now known as hallucinate.
It is.
Whereas the fuzzy logic remains true to its form.
Yeah, I always trying to think about the AI right now. It's like you're giving a right for my kids just to be active with my work, and you need to be also understand that it can go easily to not a good way, because you can just easily start to delete files. That's what I'm seeing personally, and to do this random play. You can ask him about why you do that. So and he starts to hallucinate in very strange direction, explaining that it was not done specifically to harm, but rather to just thinking that it will be useful chance to basically remove some scope of work from you. So imagine, it's crazy. But from the fintech perspective, regulator perspective, that's maybe the question how far we can get Cyprus from the AI regulation for the corporate world, because it will be also important topic where exactly we can rely on the AI. What do you feel?
Well, as I said, I mean, our applications are in basically the human emotion space. So we're looking at how humans react to fraud, react to approaching a border control, react to driving a car, and so on. So we're not using AI in the way that it's hyped in the media. Yeah. We're using AI basically, as I said earlier, defense grade, to actually look at it in situations where a human emotion may have a real world physical impact. So I'm not really that far into what I call office grade AI. Yeah. I personally don't use it for much other than an advanced form of Google. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough, because again, we still have a lot of room for improvement. Thank you so much, Ganis.
Sure.
Carissa, I just want to stay on a practice side, because we see we go from the top, now we're going just later and more to precise topic. If we're talking about Cypriots that want to benefit from the perspective of the loans and of course applied scenario that you emphasize right now with Australia, how it works? Maybe you can explain on the sort of ground level how exactly that should be works.
Look, most of the clients I deal with are investing in property. Okay, so great Australian dream is to own lots of property. At the moment, lots of people are wanting to leverage equity to potentially invest in Cypriot Australians in Cyprus as well. So there's always been the retirement dream to come and retire here, but it still works to do that, to leverage the equity. There's sort of two barriers at the moment that we talk about quite a lot. The one is obviously, we've just had another RBA increase, the rates have gone up. So borrowing power is dropping just, for your average everyday Aussie, unless your income's going up. So there's a barrier now in terms of releasing equity, similar to what we saw after COVID when the rates started going up again from when they hit 2%, 1.82%. So people are starting to stand off now from leveraging equity to do that. But the process to do it is pretty simple, to be fair. It's really, we've got enough banks on panel that to a certain threshold don't care what you do with the money when you pull it out. Okay? You just need to have a good reason for it. Is it investment? Is it a holiday house? Some of them don't even ask. It's more around your own bookkeeping for that sort of thing. But the process is so streamlined, it can be done within a day. Okay? You can, if you're using a good broker, your options for something like that can be found with the tech that we use within a couple of hours, and then we can have it lodged in another couple of hours. You could have it settled in a couple of days.
And what is the rates ratio, if we're talking about on average?
For something like that, for leveraging equity for investment purposes, you're probably looking at starting at around 6 at the moment, I would say, 6% variable. A little bit more for fixed. So the banks have shifted with fixed now as well, knowing where our market is going anyway. We're expected, depending on what economists you talk to, we're probably in for another 2 or 3 rate rises this year as well. Mm-hmm. So Australia's copying it at the moment, which is not great. So there's a lot of fear in the market in that sense. But the process hasn't changed. It's been the same since I started 10 years ago doing this sort of stuff. So the process itself has just become faster and easier. Yeah. But the policies behind it, the bank's policies are all the same. As long as it's for investment, for your own tax purposes, you may want to make sure you set it up that way. But there's so much benefit to it still. There's so many, half my database is Cypriot Australians, young and old, and all they want to do is move here one day. That's the goal in the end. So we're making sure that we can set up and put the right strategies in place for current lending so that they can do that later on as well. There's the other barrier is, I suppose, like I said before, just the timeframes of investing here, building, construction, which would put, push people back. There's lack of education around how it works here as well. So we need more of that. We need specialized people, I think, to be able to educate on that level so that we can pull that fear away, because that stigma's been around since I was young.
Okay.
That it's too hard, too much paperwork, it takes too long. You don't know if the property is going to finish being built. You kind of just have to cross your fingers and hope for the best that the developer doesn't go under. There's still that stigma that in Australia at the moment about here. So we need to get rid of that.
Could I just add?
Yes.
I have a question about that, to be honest, also. Lambis, but you can add, of course.
I think I'm Australian as well as British.
Yes.
In Australia, all the Australian Cypriots want to come and retire in Cyprus.
Yes.
Australia has a fantastic system for retirement housing, where we have this system of deferred management fees. Mm-hmm. So you get to buy in a community and live in a community, sometimes with assisted living, sometimes without it, just with independent living. But you acquire the property at perhaps a lower price than you otherwise would. But then when you transfer the property on your death, when it gets transferred, you have a deferred management fee that gets charged at that time. So you're able to access a better lifestyle, a better accommodation with a lower amount. But then when you pass and it gets transferred on, then the cost is taken. And this has become very popular in Australia in horizontal villages and indeed in vertical villages in towers. And I think this would be attractive to particularly British and Australian diasporans coming back.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So we almost end up with our time. I just want to have a brief answer for the question, what is the one barrier in Cyprus that you likely to remove? Maybe that's
one barrier?
Yeah, just
I think
one.
I've mentioned
Pick
five,
one.
but
pick up one. But
red tape? I don't know, is that
okay?
The red tape here?
Okay. Thank you. Giannis?
Look, I'm going to be basic and just say more direct flights to more places. It's frustrating trying to do business in Europe and having to go through the same old hubs to get anywhere, right? And it just limits our face-to-face contact with customers.
Beautiful.
I would agree with that. I think that money loves speed and certainty, and reducing bureaucracy, ensuring that there's a legal system where the rule of law is applied equally is going to attract a lot more foreign investment and really allows Cyprus to shine for the benefits of doing business here and living here.
Thank you. Bruce?
In Brazil, for example, some of the cities are actually paying the airlines to put on direct flights. Having a business class flight going to that side rather than just Dubai and Qatar would be great. But no, I think there's great value in the diaspora and facilitating the diaspora coming back, which I think many people want to. Almost like Invest Cyprus does this to some extent, but just more on a personal level. The value in the brains and the capability of the diaspora is something where if you can facilitate it and make it easier for people to return, then I think that you would extract value it will be exponential from that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now it's a chance for 2 questions from the audience. If you want to ask our panel about something that you want to take with you from that conversation, please go ahead. So, okay. Then I will have one last question for you guys. Let's just one bet that you want to pick up to just see how it will definitely benefit Cyprus in the next year or 5 from now. One bet. Or just will pick up one thing that you want to easily start or just focus on to help everything that related to the fintech and banking.
I think just an education platform around investing here, property, the process with the banks. I think if I think there's a start. I think you can sort of see it happening now. I think Bank of Cyprus is doing it quite well, but I think that it will grow from there. So in the next 12, 24 months, it will have advanced to make it easier with these gaps and things, barriers I've been talking about. So
Beautiful. Thank you. Who wants to give more?
Oh, look, I mean, we're taking bets every day, so I don't know. It's pretty tough being a startup in Europe or anywhere really. But I think for us, it's just taking a bet that the stigma of Cyprus will start to further recede. The financial services sector in Cyprus has had a really bad rap. Outside of Cyprus, it's really looked down upon. If we can get past that, and we are taking obviously a bet that we will get past that.
Yeah.
I think that will help us move a lot further and a lot faster.
Beautiful. George?
I think Cyprus has shown historically to being such a resilient market and economy. If you look at the history of this lovely island and the people that come from here globally, exemplified by the diaspora event today, I think that we're going to see a continued acceleration in growth in fintech, in AI, in innovation. And Cyprus is going to continue to rapidly change with more and more people wanting to live here, not only for business, but to enjoy the quality of life and make Cyprus their home.
Yeah. Ambros?
I think I'm going to steal from the President of the Republic by saying that as a small country, Cyprus, if it wants to change its position and it is the center of the world, has to act like it's the center of the world and has to engage itself in the issues of the world, and indeed can be an important player in key issues and policies. And I think by doing that, it will naturally raise its own prominence and engender trust as a stable player, a stable window, an area of growth which is embracing technology and financial innovation and is a wonderful country. I think if it positions itself and Cypriots and diasporans position their brains in that way, that we're not just a little small country, then I think there will be a lot more that can be captured.
I have a very important question also to ask from Stavros Stavru. You want to ask a question? Yeah, we just can. Yeah. Please.
If you allow me, a comment, not a question.
Please, of course.
I've heard everything that you said. Unfortunately, I joined your session very few minutes ago, and I haven't heard the whole conversation because I'm talking to people outside. But I was talking earlier on to a person from Australia who was very frustrated about the way things are getting on in Cyprus and the way he's trying to bring his companies to Cyprus, but he's finding so much problems and frustration and red tape and bureaucracy and all that. All I have to say is, please bear with us. We need your help. You are the greatest asset we had out there, and we should all work together to really change what you just mentioned and a lot of more, because we know there's a lot more there. And we need your patience, your perseverance in order to help us together with you, not convince just the diaspora. We are convinced it's just trying to find a way to come back home or have a touch with home, but also all the other foreign investors that they will to come here. Don't give up on us. And as president now of the Chamber of Commerce, I say that whoever wants to do something and finds a problem, our door is open. We're there to help you. Try, together with Invest Cyprus, try and cut through whatever red tape we can cut through. We don't promise anything. We promise that we will do our best to help you. But, okay, we have a long way to go. We know that Rome wasn't built in a day. And I know we started about a few years back. We're continuing. But again, I insist, we need your help. You're the greatest asset we have out there. And we need your help to make it work. And I'm sure we will. If we all work together, we will make it work. Thank you.
I have, that was the best closing remarks. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Stavros Stavru.
Thank you for listening to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for more inspiring conversations that are shaping Cyprus's global future. You can also explore more episodes on our website and selected video interviews on our YouTube channels.